Samples close.
Last year, PlayStation-exclusive Ghost of Tsushima sliced its way onto PlayStation 4 systems, quickly becoming one of the most successful titles of the year, and one of the most highly praised PlayStation exclusives. Having made its mark on the video game community, Ghost of Tsushima is heading to the big screen, with the director of John Wick leading the film. The news was detailed by Deadline as an exclusive story. Ghost of Tsushima will be directed by Chad Stahelski, the director of the first 3 John Wick films. Stahelski, along with producers Alex Young and Jason Spitz, will be producing Ghost of Tsushima through their production company, 8711 Entertainment. Sucker Punch Productions will be overseeing the project, serving as executive producer, represented by Peter Kong. Asad Kizilbash and Carter Swan will also be producing Ghost of Tsushima through PlayStation Productions. Nate Fox, the creative director of Ghost of Tsushima, took to the PlayStation blog to celebrate the movie's announcement, praising the game's reception from fans, and thanking them for sharing their creativity through the game's photo mode. Ghost of Tsushima tells the story of Jin Sakai. After a disastrous battle that leaves him mortally wounded, Jin, now the last surviving member of his samurai clan, is revived and sets out to liberate the island of Tsushima from the clutches of the Mongolian invasion. The game became one of the fastest-selling exclusive IPs in PlayStation history, selling 6.5 million copies and becoming universally praised for its combat, story and setting. It was nominated for a large plethora of awards, including Game of the Year at the 2020 Game Awards. Chad Stahelski's John Wick films have become a global success, having earned over $600 million at the worldwide box office. Chad Stahelski is currently preparing to direct John Wick 4. Video game movies are a fairly common happening, but it is exceptionally rare to have such talent connected to a movie based on a game. The John Wick films have become one of the most enjoyable action films in the last half-decade, and it is impossible not to get excited for the potential thematic and visual direction a movie adaptation will take. Ghost of Tsushima was heavily inspired by the samurai action classics of the 50s, namely the works of Akira Kurosawa. Another PlayStation exclusive said to be getting a movie adaptation is Demon's Souls. According to a report, Sony's critically acclaimed and brutal RPG, Demon's Souls, is being adapted into a movie. It's speculated that this movie will be a pretty major production for Sony, which is not surprising considering the game's popularity and the fact it recently got a full-blown remake for the PS5. What isn't known at this point is if the project will pluck content from Dark Souls 2, or just remain firmly in the realm of Demon's Souls. That's about all we know so far, as anything else is just conjecture. Still, Demon's Souls has plenty of eyeball-popping scenery and demonic foes that would surely look brilliant adapted for the big screen, so here's hoping the reports are true. Sony hasn't announced anything official about a Demon's Souls movie at this point, so keep that in mind. Demon's Souls was originally released for the PS3 back in 2009 and became an instant cult classic, launching the successful Souls series of games at From Software. The remake turned up in November 2020 for the PS5, which is a massive success. With unique action takes, the visual action of Ghost of Tsushima and the immersion of Demon's Souls could potentially break the ceiling and raise the bar for how action scenes are made and filmed. Ghost of Tsushima marks the second production from Sony Pictures and PlayStation, the first being Uncharted, which has entered post-production and is slated for release in February 2022. It will be interesting to see how this new pursuit in PlayStation Adaptations resonates with fans. Remember Binary Domain, the 2012 shooter from Yakuza developer Ryoji Gotaka Studio on PS3 and Xbox 360? Well, producer Daisuke Sato has said he'd like to remaster the game with some changes for current consoles. Speaking with Gameblog, Sato-san was quizzed if it was possible to have Binary Domain released for the latest crop of hardware, and it's something he'd not only like to do, but also make some changes to in the process. It's one of my favorite shooter games and I personally recommend and need the remaster for current generation consoles. Will it happen? Who knows, but it will obviously take more than just one man to make the decision. Hopefully Sega will give it the green light at some point, although one possible stumbling block is that Binary Domain wasn't a big success. Up next we have a Hideo Kojima news, as Kojima Productions' next game after Death Stranding is set to be announced quite soon. With Death Stranding releasing on PS4 back in 2019, it looks like that we won't have to wait long for the next game from Kojima Productions to be announced. In an interview with Outlet AI Hub, studio art director Yoji Shinkawa let slip that Kojima Productions' next game would be announced quite soon, saying, "Well yeah, I am doing something, for sure, and I could tell you probably that we can announce it quite soon." For his part, Yoji Shinkawa is best known for his work on the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and in particular, designing the various mecha that have become synonymous with that series over the years. As to what Kojima Productions' next game might be, it seems that a sequel to Death Stranding could be a safe bet. Equally, we've also known since October last year that Kojima Productions has been hiring for a new project. We also know that Death Stranding's own composer had been brought on board too. Finally, rumors have also been gaining pace about a special extended edition of the original Death Stranding. Specifically, the rumor mill cites that a new version of the 2019 game with extra content and improved visuals for PS5 owners is complete and due to be announced imminently. In short, now is looking like a good time to be a Death Stranding fan. Moving forward, we have Battlefield 6 update or rumor, as Battlefield 6's big reveal may be right around the corner, as a video game insider reveals that EA may showcase the first-person shooter very soon. The Battlefield 6 rumors continue to come forth. Whether it is information about Criterion moving to assist DICE on Battlefield or rumors about the setting of the game, the leaks and news info are constant. The most recent tidbit has to do with the official reveal of Battlefield 6, and it looks like it could be rather soon. 2021 looks to be a big year for gaming, but there are plenty of big-name games that have been hit with delays as well, likely thanks to ongoing difficulties from the pandemic. Gotham Knights was just pushed back to 2022, for example. But fans have been waiting years for the next Battlefield, and the big reveal for Battlefield 6 could be right around the corner. On the YouTube show GamesBeat, video game insider Jeff Grubb commented on when Battlefield May 6 be revealed based on a question from the audience. Grubb has been a trusted source in the past. Immediately Grubb simply said May with much authority, although he backtracked slightly. After commenting that things are fluid, Grubb said that they haven't announced anything publicly yet. But my understanding is that they're probably looking at May. Based on that comment, and on what Grubb is willing to share, it looks like EA is planning to reveal something in just 2 months for Battlefield 6. It was only in early February that EA CEO Andrew Wilson confirmed that a new Battlefield would be ready for holiday 2021. But fans have been waiting with bated breath for any new information. So far, leaks and rumors have been aplenty, but official details have been scarce. If it is indeed true that a full reveal is coming in May, that will be very exciting for Battlefield and first-person shooter fans. Likely the setting will be revealed, along with other aspects like if the game will indeed have a battle royale, what the single player may be focused on, and if the game will be solely a next-gen game, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, or also release on the last-gen consoles as well, PS4 and Xbox One. Electronic Arts has put the feelers out on what players possibly want to see in the upcoming Battlefield 6, which hints at everything from free-to-play elements to a battle pass system. That's according to noted leaker Tom Henderson and YouTube Lassie, who claim that EA is keen to know if players want to see the following in a new game. There's no official confirmation on any of these features being included in Battlefield 6, although Henderson notes that if they are for Battlefield 6, then they're already feature. It's more to do with when marketing will announce them rather than deciding if they are in the game at all. If the reveal does come in May, there is no telling yet what full details could be uncovered. The Battlefield 6 reveal could simply be a setting-based story trailer. Or it could be a full game showcase along with confirmations of rumors and leaks that have already been hinted at over the months, like the idea that Battlefield 6 will have a free-to-play element. For now, all of this is speculation, including the idea that the reveal could arrive in May, so it should be taken with a grain of salt. Now focusing on one of the best PlayStation exclusives, first we have Spider-Man. Marvel's Spider-Man included no shortage of iconic characters from the Marvel mythos, with the Spidey antagonists Silver Sable and Hammerhead both getting a chance to shine. The web-slinger's encounters with Black Cat also served as the backbone of the DLC, with most fans remembering the expansions fondly for the conversations between Felicia Hardy and Peter Parker. However, one thing occurring in the background of the DLC was the formation of a new anti-hero, and the character may have a big role in the sequel. With Spider-Man, Miles Morales introducing a new playable character to the mix, it would not be too surprising if the sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man does the same. While there are plenty of options, ranging from alternate Spider-Man to the supervillain Venom, this new anti-hero could be playable as well. If they are, the character's brief comic book history gives an idea of how they could play inside Insomniac's highly anticipated sequel. Throughout all of Marvel's Spider-Man, Peter Parker is assisted by police captain Yuri Watanabe. Known best for her entertaining banter with Peter's hilarious Spider-Cop persona, Yuri takes a dark turn in the game's DLC content. With the lives of several fellow officers lost due to a conflict with Hammerhead, Yuri is forced to call the families of her deceased friends to report the bad news. Causing her to snap, the likable cop hunts down Hammerhead, shooting the villain in the head. Though he survives, Yuri is placed on leave, with the cop eventually going rogue and hunting down criminals herself. Killing those that escape the justice system, Yuri believes that sometimes death is the only answer, something that will surely put her at odds with Spidey in the next game. Around the crime scenes where players find recordings from Yuri, Spider-Man can find yellow and black police tape as well as purple ropes. This is a nod to the character's comic book role as Wraith, an anti-hero that Spider-Man either works with or fights against depending on the situation. A fairly new character considering the web-slinger's incredibly long comic book history, Wraith first appeared in 2011. She sports a tight purple and gold costume, something that will likely be seen in an eventual encounter with the character once Marvel's Spider-Man 2 arrives. However, while a boss fight with the misguided officer would be fun, playing as her could be even more enjoyable. If Wraith were to become a playable character in the sequel, players can expect her to have a variety of abilities. Guns and other weapons could be used due to the character's willingness to kill, while she could also make use of any items from the game's enemy factions. In the comics, she gets her gadgets and gear from the police evidence lockers, meaning that she could make use of the weaponry from the Inner Demons, Roxxon, the Underground, and any new faction that arrives in the sequel. Wraith also uses equipment designed by Mysterio to terrify her enemies, which could be a fun way for Insomniac to introduce the beloved villain to the sequel story. Further, Yuri's alter ego makes use of fear gas from Mr. Fear, a villain who is essentially a rip-off of the DC antagonist Scarecrow. This could make for a fun in-game mechanic where enemies can be stunned or terrified, attacking those around them due to the effects of the gas. Finally, Yuri's most iconic bit of weaponry is a pair of yellow elastic straps that can be shot from her costume to wrap up enemies. They also allow her to swing through New York City just like Spider-Man, something that would make her much easier to add to the game than most playable characters. With clear options for gadgets as well as a perfect alternative to web swinging, Yuri would be a natural fit for a playable character in the sequel. While playing as Venom would undoubtedly be a blast, Insomniac allowing players to control Yuri instead would be safer. Less evil than the symbiote and more akin to someone like the Punisher in terms of her morals, Wraith is a fine fit for such a role. While this is purely speculation, and players should only expect some missions involving Yuri inside the sequel, it is hard not to think of how memorable it could be to control Wraith in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I'm looking forward to Venom, Mysterio and Green Goblin in the sequel, which would make it more interesting and marvelous. And finally we have the Returnal news, a PS5 exclusives developed by the team in Housemarque. Returnal was one of the most memorable new titles showcased at Sony's PS5 reveal stream last June. Developer Housemarque showed off the upcoming PS5 exclusives gameplay and teased its story in a new demo on Thursday. The 2.5-minute video was part of Games Radar's Future Games Show Spring Showcase. Narrated by Housemarque marketing director Michael Haveri, the demo walks viewers through what to expect when Returnal launches on PS5 next month. The demo opens with the protagonist and deep space explorer Celine crash landing on the mysterious planet of Atropos. There, she finds herself trapped in a strange loop of death and resurrection. Every time Celine dies, the planet rearranges, creating a new environment to explore. The teaser also nodded to Returnal's creepy online component, with Celine discovering the corpse of another her. Haveri describes Returnal as a fast-paced shooter with roguelike elements. That definitely comes through in the clips of gameplay. The third-person combat is partially reminiscent of Mass Effect, Andromeda, with Celine dashing and zipping around enemies. However, it also incorporates elements inspired by bullet hell shooters. Enemies fill the screen with brightly glowing projectiles for the player to avoid. The demo showcased some flying squid creatures that seemed particularly fond of saturating the battlefield with bullets. Combat is just one half of Returnal's gameplay, with the other being exploration. The planet of Atropos has a savage beauty to it, not unlike the aesthetic of Dark Souls. It's also littered with alien ruins and ominous swamps for Celine to explore. Players will need to search for scattered clues to uncover what became of the planet's inhabitants. Solving this mystery may be vital to freeing Celine from Atropos' seemingly supernatural hold. It may not just be the planet keeping secrets in. As was hinted at in the trailer last year, Atropos haunts Celine with visions of her house on Earth. What that means is another mystery that players will have to figure out. Housemarque hopes to blend Returnal's exploration with the game's non-linear story, with the goal being for players to learn more about their character as they explore and learn more about Atropos. Presumably, Celine's escape depends on major revelations about both. Despite being the oldest game studio in Finland, Housemarque is a relatively small team of only around 80 employees. As Haveri points out, Returnal is the developer's first original story-driven game. Still, that lack of experience does not seem to have hindered development. There is also a good news for both the team and PlayStation, and for the fans, as Returnal has gone gold a month ahead of PS5 release in April. Writing on Twitter, Housemarque thanked the team for their help in finishing the game, and said that "We can't wait to have this out soon and for every player out there to experience the planet of Atropos." This is great news and should ensure that the studio has enough time to implement big fixes for the Day 1 patch, which will ensure we all have the best experience when the game launches. For those not familiar with the Gone Gold term, I'll explain. A game has gone gold when the final master copy has been produced at the developer and sent off for replication, packaging and shipment. The game is not yet released, but it will typically be around 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes less, before it begins appearing on store shelves and online pre-orders arriving at doorsteps. The term itself comes from the old practice of recordable CDs being manufactured with gold film. It is actually the indication of perfect completion of the game according to expectations, and the team will have more time to work on other things like patches, game updates and various content. And that's all for the video, guys. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and share the video. Subscribe if you are new and click the bell icon, comment your thoughts on the topics that are discussed and tell your opinion. And until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.